Join us.
The new cast of Survivor is 18 people. Baka, baka, baka. I say that every time when they come up, like the Notorious B.I.G. song. Wu-Tang, you know what song I'm talking about?
Actually, I don't. But
give me the
it's
loop.
It's funny you bring Baka up because I think Serge Baka.
When you hear Baka?
Yeah, every time.
Come on in.
Like, subscribe, and share while you outwit, outplay, and outlast.
Hello, Internet. The Morgan You Know podcast network presents Balls Brew.
Welcome to NFL Week 6 here on the flagship sports podcast, Balls and Brew on the Morgan You Know podcasting network. I am your host, Rod Morgan. Joining me, as always, my guy from North Carolina. He's ready. Ian is now in his rearview mirror. His Cowboys are riding high. He's Chris King.
And Matt Rule does not coach the Panthers anymore.
That's true, I guess. I forgot about your Panthers ousting their head coach, but I imagine nobody was crying a tear for Matt Rule. You said they were ready for him to go down there.
Oh, yeah, and now everyone's so happy for him. It's crazy. They all wanted him fired, but now over all the radio stations, all the comments, they're just happy for the guy because he's still getting paid $40 million for the next 4 years.
I don't know who did they decide is going to be the interim coach? Who's the coach of the Carolina Panthers right now?
I don't know. I think it's the offensive coordinator, but I can't be 100% sure because I haven't paid attention to that.
Yeah, Wilkes, I think. Yeah.
Wilkes,
right.
Yep.
There we go. Wilkes, just one name. He's like Madonna. We'll see how that goes for the Carolina Panthers. You heard him chime in there with the information that we need because he's our football handicapper. He is Josh Williams. Josh, hello.
What's going on, boys? Had a bit of a rough week last week going 0-3, but we'll try and get back on track this week. I think I like the card a little bit better this week. I think the dogs will be barking a little bit better for me.
Listen, you could admit a defeat last week for sure. 0-3, there's just nothing you can say about that. But you're still 11-4 overall for the year. That's 11-4 against the spread. That's difficult to do. That's winning more games than losing, quite a few more games than losing. So we'll take that all day long, Mr. Williams. But you know what we won't take is some bad football. Actually, according to ratings, we will take bad football because the NFL is king. But we've had a lot of bad football, a lot of low-scoring games, a lot of bad quarterback play. Like I heard some stats thrown out about QBR averages and where most of the people in the league are. And just there's a whole lot of things you can point to about bad football. But Chris, I know you have something relating to bad football with the game that is being played this evening while we are recording right now. Why don't you start with one of your three things for us before we get going here?
Well, Rod, I know that the NFL hates Jeff Bezos and Amazon, apparently. They gave him that first good matchup at the beginning of the year with the Bills and the Rams, which turned out to be a blowout. And then it has been pretty pathetic Thursday night football that we've been seeing that culminated in the peak of ineptitude last week between the Colts and the Broncos. And with tonight's matchup between the Washington football team and the Chicago Bears, it may even top it.
Oh, Mr. Williams, I mean, can you believe that our teams, right, your team playing this evening, and we're not going to say anything about this game because we're not going to do that while people are watching this game or it's going to be too late the next day. But my team played in successive Thursday night football games, and like I could not be more excited last week, and I imagine you're not incredibly excited for tonight's game.
Yeah, I mean, they're it's been tough to watch. And you know who I feel bad for? I feel bad for Al Michaels, man. He doesn't deserve this. He doesn't deserve Thursday night football. Get him back on Sunday night football, man. I miss Al and Chris, man. I mean, they were the closest thing we had to Madden and Summerall. Man, I miss those guys so much. For no reason. They didn't have to break up. Come on, man. Let's get those guys back on Sunday night football together.
Yeah, I miss those guys on Sunday Night Football a little bit too, and I'm not an anti-Kirk Herbstreit guy, but it's going to take me a little bit more to acquire the taste for Kirk Herbstreit on Thursday Night Football. But I think there's maybe been a reaction to the bad football where there's been a lot of roughing the passer calls, right? We've seen a lot of those, a lot of egregious calls. I don't know if that's related to Tua, whatnot, but I want to start here with Jimmy Jamriska, who is the producer of this podcast, unfortunately not able to join us again this week, but we all know he gives us a face and a heel from every week of football. And so coming out of week 5, Jimmy's heel are these bad roughing the passer calls. Chris, you gave us that great talk about concussions last week, my man. What do you think these roughing the passer calls are related to some of the bad look that the NFL's under right now due to the Tua situation, and then the Dolphins' backup quarterback Teddy Bridgewater going out immediately for a concussion as well?
Well, we all know Teddy Two Gloves is a bit brittle, but maybe. But like it's to the point of being ridiculous though now, especially in that Falcons Buccaneers game on Sunday. The hit that they gave the roughing the passer for against Tom Brady should not have been a roughing the passer, and I really don't think it was. I think what they were really throwing the flag out there for was assault on the elderly, because Tom Brady looked pretty old going down to the ground there. And if you compare it to that hit that Tua took against the Bills, that didn't get a flag, and Brady goes down like an 80-year-old man would, and it's automatically roughing the passer. It was a farce, and there was another one Monday night. But even if they're trying to overcorrect themselves, they are making themselves look worse.
I love that. You're sticking up for your fellow AARP card-carrying member Tom Brady there. Mr. Williams, let's go to the one on Monday night, because I know some people were up in arms about that one as well.
Yeah, and I mean, a couple of these refs, man. Jermaine Boger, he was the one who called it on Brady on Sunday. He's been terrible in his past. And then the one on Monday night, Carl Cheffers called it. And then he got so much blowback from the crowd at Arrowhead. I've never heard a crowd so pissed off that they're still booing past halftime. They booed through the whole halftime and they were still booing him. And then he was so scared to throw any flags against Kansas City that, like, when they did throw one, he came back and his voice cracked when he tried to say that the penalty was on Kansas City. He was like, the penalty's not on Kansas. And his voice cracked. The next 9 penalties were against the Raiders. They even called, get this, you're not going to believe this, they even called a defensive holding on a field goal attempt against the Raiders. The last time that happened was back in 2015 by none other than Carl Cheffers against the Raiders. You cannot make this stuff up.
Wow, that is, listen, I tell people all the time that you are an impressive football handicapper and you can unearth some nuggets unlike no one they've ever heard before, and you continue to amaze me year after year, Mr. Williams. You got Carl Cheffers nuggets about defensive holdings on field goals. That's absolutely amazing. I love that. All right, Thursday night football was bad, but you know something else bad came out in the NFL today. There was some news coming out about one Dan Snyder. Chris, I'll let you pick up from here because I believe that's one other thing you have on your things you know this week.
Yeah, Rod. I know that Dan Snyder is by far the worst owner in all of Major League Sports. And I know you want to bring up the Cubs owners, Ricketts, but like, the amount of things that are coming out of Washington around this football team, and specifically Dan Snyder, the amount of investigations, the culture of the workplace, and I think they've had 2 federal investigations already on them, on the team and the finances. They're not
is that a bad thing? Federal investigations? I'm not sure. Is that?
It's not good.
Frown upon that?
It's not good. And he is acting exactly like a dog would backed up into a corner, throwing out all these innuendos, all these threats, we'll call them, about essentially outing all the other owners, that he has dirt on everybody up to and including Roger Goodell, and then they can't touch him. And it came out again that they're not going to vote on whether or not he should still be an owner of an NFL franchise. Maybe he does have this dirt on there, which then just makes the NFL look even worse. The fact that they don't even want to publicize or make available transcripts from the investigations that they already did just makes it look worse and worse, and Dan Snyder looks to be the worst of them all.
I'm not in the position to defend Dan Snyder here, nor do I want to defend Dan Snyder, but I'm going to actually take it a step further and just go at all NFL owners here, because what's coming out is just how much of an absolute boys club that this all is, how much there is going to always be a move to protect the inner sanctum. All of these guys know what skeletons are in their closet. They know what skeletons are in the closet of their buddy who owns the other team in the other league. They don't know if Dan Snyder does or doesn't have these things, but they're not willing to create a scenario where one of them might be able to be forced out for their bad misdeeds. And I'll tell you the other thing that came out in this report today from Don Van Natta. He's a great investigative reporter. Check it out on ESPN.com. There was also a good episode of ESPN Daily where he came on and explained a lot of this. And there's a quick line, a throwaway line there in the middle of the story where one NFL owner is quoted on background as saying, really what we're mad at Dan Snyder about here is finances. And if he can somehow get himself a new stadium made, we're probably going to overlook all of this and move on. So that's what you should focus on here, folks. This is a good old boys club. Dan Snyder has been in the good old boys club for 25 years. If he lets the heat on this get turned down and figures out a way by some hook or crook to get a stadium built, things will probably be okay. So if you're going to sit at home at night and hold your breath thinking that Dan Snyder is going to not be the owner of the Washington Commanders, it's not a good thing for you to do. So let's move past that and get back to things on the field. With that, I'll turn it over to our guy Josh Williams for his first pick here in Week 6. And again, I will stress an 11-4 record out of our handicapper right now.
Yeah, and one last thing then. The NBA got Donald Sterling out as an owner. Let's get Dan Snyder out as an owner as Washington. It's enough. It's enough. Get this guy out of here. But NFL doesn't need him. But go along with the picks here. We're gonna take Miami plus 3.5 at home against Minnesota here. We're gonna sell high on the Vikings and buy low on the Dolphins here. Yeah, the Vikings have won 4 out of their first 5, but I kind of feel like even though I picked them to make the Super Bowl, they've kind of been paper tigers here going into this game. Their best game of the year was Week 1, where we knew they had to play their best to beat Green Bay. They were super focused, and they came out on top of that game. But the other couple games here, they had to come from behind to beat a bad Detroit defense. They let the Bears score 19 straight points on them.
Is that bad? Are we not giving them credit for letting the Bears score 19 points?
That might not be good. And then over in London, man, I thought the officiating, I normally don't like to get on officiating, but I thought that officiating was terrible in that game. The Saints had over 100 yards of penalties. They had a couple really bad pass interference calls. So I think the Vikings have been pretty fortunate here. And now you're going down to Miami, and I get it. It could be Skylar Thompson. We'll get to him in a second for Miami. But I think that Mike McDaniel will scheme up some easy looks for Skylar Thompson because Mike McDaniel, if you guys haven't noticed, a Shanahan protege. What does Shanahan do for Jimmy G? Schemes up easy looks for him, along with another one of your favorite coach, my favorite coaches, maybe Rod's favorite coach, Brian Daboll in New York. What does he do? He schemes up easy looks for Danny Dimes.
He just wins, baby. That's what he does.
Just wins, baby. And with this, I mean, Skylar Thompson, who, by the way, completed 75% of his passes in the preseason. I know it's preseason, but this guy was pretty good here. He had 450 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 0 picks. So he's capable of running the offense here.
Where's he out on the Nick Mullins scale? All right, let's go even deeper Shanahan here. Where's he out on the Nick Mullins scale?
He could be a Nick Mullins shadow type, the Spider-Man meme, So I don't trust this Vikings defense right now. They're 26 in yards allowed per carry, and we know that this offense, if you go back to the Shanahan rushing offense, like Mike McDaniel has seen over the years, they create misdirection, and in the zone blocking scheme, these guys can thrash this Vikings defense. And worse off for the Vikings, they're 28th in yards allowed per pass. And we talked about all the home field advantages in the NFL. Yes, Seattle has had a good one in the past. Kansas City has a great one. Denver with the elevation in September. I'm telling you, the best home field advantage in the NFL is the humidity down in Miami.
You've been on this, and you've been proven right a couple of games already.
In September and October. And how that stadium is built, the Dolphins will be in the shade with their white uniforms, and the Vikings will be in the sun with their purple uniforms. And Miami is 14-5 against the spread at home since the start of 2020. That is the best in the NFL. And the last reason why I like this game, 51% of the handle or the bets are on the Vikings here, but 73% of the money is coming in on the Fins. Plus, you get the hook. You get the plus 3.5. You can find that minus 110 on MGM. I like the Dolphins to get back on track here, even with their third-string quarterback. Give me the Dolphins plus 3.5 this weekend against the Vikings.
Chris, let me ask you this. What is it about the Vikings where I will agree with everything that Mr. Williams just said right there that says the Vikings are a bad football team, but somehow I still think they might win the NFC North? Like, what is it about the Vikings that makes me think that?
Because they have Kirk Cousins, and for some reason that dude is able to succeed where everyone expects him to fail. I don't know why, but he does, and there's something about this Vikings team. It's weird, and I agree with their defense. They're suspect, but and especially this week, I'll tell you what's more suspect is Miami's defense. They're ranked lower than Minnesota's defense in every major statistical category. So yeah, maybe the Vikings defense isn't that great, but the Dolphins defense is worse. I think if you give Dalvin Cook a healthy dose, keep them on the field, I think Minnesota pulls this out, and I think Kirk Cousins continues to show us what's up.
He likes that. He likes that when you defend him like that, Chris. I knew you'd have some good nuggets for us there on the Vikings. It's just the Vikings are such a crazy team that way, man. I don't know if it's the purple uniforms or the fact that I loved when Randall Cunningham was chucking the ball up there, or the season Jeff George was up there chucking the ball. You know, just something about the Vikings always intrigues me. Let's move to another guy who chucks the ball all around the yard. Hopefully, Cincinnati versus New Orleans. Mr. Williams, what do we got?
Yeah, I'm going against the public here. I'm going to take the Saints +2 against Cincy. Look, they're playing their second straight home game while the Bengals are coming off short rest off a tough divisional road Sunday night game. Now they have to go to New Orleans for their second straight road game. And get a little X's and O's here. Offensive tackle Jonah Williams for the Bengals. He's given up the 5th most sacks from the tackle position and is tied for giving up the 8th most pressures. He's going up against Marcus Davenport on that Saints D-line. On the other side, the right tackle, La'el Collins, he's been a big liability this year. He's been the 4th worst out of 72 qualified tackles. He's going to have to go up against Cam Jordan. Now, Burrow is deadly versus the blitz, but the Saints match up well against Cincy here because they blitz at the 3rd lowest rate. And when Burrow is not blitzed, he has just an average QB rating of 83 with 5 touchdowns and 5 picks. But I'm telling you, it's not all on Burrow. We get back to Zach Taylor's offenses. They're too telegraphic in what they're doing. And this guy is going to go down as just a huge fraud. I mean, nobody can see it right now because they made
fraud watch. I love it. Let's go.
He's terrible, and nobody can see it because they made the Super Bowl last year. But that was because of the defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, and because of how good Burrow and Chase were throughout the whole year, and Higgins. So he runs it. Taylor runs it too high of a clip on first downs. He doesn't use pre-snap motion. He doesn't use play action nearly enough, and here's another thing. Burrow and Chase could be distracted by the hoopla coming back home to Louisiana. This is the first time they're coming back home, since they won the national championship.
So you're saying a little Bourbon Street hangover here, huh?
Possibly. The last thing here is the same reason why I liked Miami. This is a very public pick this week in Cincinnati. 82% of the handle is on Cincy here, while only 55% of the money is on them. And when the public is shading a side this year, check out these splits. When over 51%, when the tickets are on them, the public's only 31, 46, and 1 against the spread. That's 40%. When the public is 60% on a ticket, they're only 12 and 25 against the spread. That's 32%. And when they are over 66% on a side, they are only 7 and 14 against the spread. That's 33%. You wonder why I go against the public so much, because the public is just not very good. The public is on Cincy here. I'll go with the Saints +2 at home.
Chris, I think we just stumbled on something there. We're always kind of looking for Mr. Williams to have a gimmick, right? I think Fraud Watch is what we should really start pinning Mr. Williams down on. We should make him put different people on Fraud Watch every week. I love that Zach Taylor's a fraud. That was awesome.
Yeah, I love the Fraud Watch. And listen, I want Cincinnati to win. Everyone here knows about my Bengals love. But the Saints have something that Williams didn't even mention yet, and that's that secret weapon in Taysom Hill. I don't know what this kid has in him, and he's not even a kid anymore. He's 32 years old now, but that guy is electric, and you give him opportunities to have the ball in his hands. It's obviously he makes exciting plays and makes things happen. The Saints got to get him and keep him involved in the offense, and if they do that, they can win.
This has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that you're now starting him as your fantasy tight end, does it, Chris? This has absolutely nothing to do with that.
What's worse, in the other league, I was like 2 seconds away from picking him up in the other league last week before he went off on his 4 touchdowns. So a little bit of remorse on my part and just giving the guy props. I've loved watching him for a few years now, and when he's on the field and he's got the ball in his hand, not only is he succeeding, but it looks like he is having fun. It looks like he's leaving his heart on the field, and I love to see that in football players.
Yes, but you mentioned blackmail earlier when we talked about Dan Snyder. I used to think maybe Taysom Hill had some blackmail on Sean Payton, but he's not even the coach anymore, and he's still getting a chance to do all these things. So, hey, man, listen, anything that makes football more fun, I am all for it. And one thing that used to be fun for me was making fun of the New England Patriots and wishing for their downfall because they used to just pound on my Indianapolis Colts all the time. But they really haven't been a good football team for a couple of years, and it just doesn't feel as fun to wish for their downfall. So now they're playing some guy named Bailey Zappi at quarterback, but Williams still wants to talk about this game. Go ahead, Mr. Williams.
I know this is like the forgotten game here, but you know what side I'm on. I'm gonna take the Patriots plus 2.5 against Cleveland. You can find that plus 100 on MGM. All these lines this week, the best lines have been on MGM. Just to note that. When you take a step back and think about this, who knows Jacoby Brissett better than anyone else? It's Bill Belichick. Brissett has never played against Belichick before. That can't be a good thing. This Browns run D is pathetic. They're 32nd in rush DVOA, 31st in tackling, 30th in rush defense success rate. And this Pats running game is getting hot right now. They're up to 8th in yards per carry. And don't be surprised if Ramondre Stevenson leads the league in rushing yards this week. The Pats have faced the hardest schedule of opposing offenses so far. So I think they can withstand this Cleveland Browns offense. I mean, the Browns offense is very good, and they'll probably run on them. But I just think this matchup favors New England. Last year, these teams played pretty similar coaching staffs, pretty similar rosters. The Browns got up early, 7-0, and then the Patriots closed it out with 45 consecutive points. And if you think you're going to pass on the Pats, D, they've been really underrated so far this year too. They're 8th in DVOA, the Pats pass defense is, and 2nd in yards allowed per pass. So I know David Njoku's had a good year so far this year, but the defense that the Patriots play, they don't really play the cover 2 like most of these teams do. So that'll limit Njoku's effectiveness on Sunday. I just think.
Dang it! Now you're killing my fantasy team.
I don't trust the Browns. Much like I don't trust the Vikings defense, I don't trust this Browns defense. I just don't trust Cleveland to do the right things to beat a Belichick-led team. This Pats team is hot right now. I usually don't like buying high because they blew out the Lions last week, but I just think New England getting 2.5 here is the right side.
You know, and the thing with the Browns is they've actually kind of been a solid football team, but I just think we still have the residue of all the ickiness with the Browns, and I think that's kind of why nobody wants to talk about them, right? They're kind of a running football team in a passing league. You know, Chris, they got Jacoby Brissett as quarterback. We know how nondescript a football team can seem when Jacoby Brissett is your quarterback.
Yeah. There's nothing sexy about having Brissett as your quarterback. The one thing the Browns do have, though, is Chubb. That dude can run the ball, and they want to have any chance in this game, they got to keep feeding him. But this is the type of game, and I'm with you, Rod. I don't like the Patriots. I have this bad taste in my mouth of the Browns. This is a game where even if they tie, I'm going to come away unhappy.
Yeah, I'm absolutely with you. And there are 2 other great games in NFL Week 6 that we are going to touch upon quickly here. We're going to break from our normal fray. I've got to do the Tom Cruise Game of the Week grade here, as well as give my Tom Cruise Game of the Week. We have Jimmy, who still needs to give his face out, and Chris has one more thing that he needs to tell us that he knows. We're going to wrap those into these two games because I am a phenomenal podcast host. Here we go. Last week's game was Cowboys v. Rams. All right. It was a game that we were anticipating, and it came off as pretty darn entertaining, I suppose. Maybe the Rams acted like they were hanging around, but were they really hanging around? So what I'm going to grade Cowboys v. Rams is as Minority Report. All right. Steven Spielberg movie, Tom Cruise, sci-fi. We were all in, made pretty good money. If you ask me right now if I like Minority Report, I would tell you yes. But then if you ask me to answer more questions about the movie Minority Report, I would have no idea because it just went in one ear and out the other because ultimately it's not near the top of the Tom Cruise scale. So I come down on Minority Report for your Cowboys who continue to win. Chris, what do you think there?
I can dig on that. I enjoyed Minority Report. I could probably answer a few questions. And I enjoyed that game. And you're right, there was always that feeling, especially in the back of my mind, that the Rams were just one big play away. But the Dallas defense showed up. Micah Parsons, again, showed why he's such a disruptor on the defensive side of the ball. It was a good game for us Cowboys fans to watch. It was exciting.
Mr. Williams, this Rams team is not exciting at all. It doesn't look that great, but they still really have an outside shot of being the number 7 team in the NFC, don't they?
Yeah, they do, just because of how weak the conference is. But tell you what, man, they lose the tiebreaker now with the Cowboys, and your Giants have an easy schedule for the rest of the way. Like, can they keep it up? I mean, Dayball's doing this with smoke and mirrors, Dayball and Wink Martindale. I mean, the Giants really don't have that much talent. It's just really good coaching, really good scheme. But, man, I hope the Giants get in over the Rams because I think the Rams are – I mean, the Rams weren't even one of the 3 best teams in the NFC last year. If you go like baseball mode, if you go like best out of 7, which I know is ridiculous, but like they just got hot at the right time. They didn't have to go to Green Bay. Jaquiski Tart drops that interception. The Niners would have beat them like 7 times in a row. They get to play the Super Bowl at home. They didn't have to face Kansas City or Buffalo. Like everything fell right for the Rams last year. So like that's why I kind of thought that they were going to have a step back and just barely squeak into the playoffs. But that their offensive line is terrible. Andrew Whitworth retiring is a huge loss for them that people didn't really factor in. So they got to get that running game going if they want to make the playoffs.
You know what I'm hearing here? If we would have had Fraud Watch at the beginning of the year, you would have been putting the Rams on there. That was some good fire right there, too. I love that stuff. All right, here we go. So this week's Tom Cruise game of the week, pretty simple, right? I mean, call me the guy taking the easy fruit from the bottom of the tree if you want, but Kansas City Buffalo are locking horns again after that game we saw in the playoffs at 4 o'clock on Sunday. Jim Nance, Tony Romo. Nance is going to be excited as touchdowns get scored. Tony Romo is going to be giddy talking about how much he loves football and dialing up what they're doing out there, and we are going to see an absolute knockdown slobber knocker. I am hopeful, gentlemen. I am hopeful that this game may reach Top Gun status. Chris, what do you think?
That is definitely the hype around this game, and if it's anything like last year's divisional playoff game, it will be. Who wouldn't love to see that again with the new overtime rule? Now it's not down to a coin flip necessarily. I hope it's exciting as the hype. I hope it's a really good game. I'm also a bit nervous if the Bills just go in and dominate because they're a little bit pissed off. And, of course, I would be too because they know that the team that's been knocking them out of their chance to be in the Super Bowl has been the Chiefs, and that's who they want to take their revenge on.
And they will be going into Kansas City with Jimmy Jamriska's face of NFL Week 5, Josh Allen, an absolute dominating performance last week, getting revved up to face Kansas City. But, Mr. Williams, I'm going to go here. I often like to pat myself on the back, and I was pretty high on the Kansas City hype train. And that team that played last week, that looks like a team that's going to have something to say about where the path to the Super Bowl goes through the AFC. Where do you stand on this game?
Yeah, man, as somebody who has a ticket on the Eagles to win the most regular season games this year, I was hoping that the Raiders would pull off the upset on Monday night against the Chiefs. the Chiefs would be pissed off and then beat the Bills this upcoming week, because the Bills have a much easier schedule than Kansas City. So I'm still rooting for the Chiefs to upset. Can you believe that? Upset the Bills.
That's crazy.
This
Mahomes
week.
has only been an underdog 8 times in his career.
Yeah, that was a stat I was just about to give. He's 7-0-1 against the spread as a dog in his career. And when Andy Reid is a home dog, the over is 20-2 in those games since 04.
There we go. Top Gun, baby. Top Gun, Williams.
Some fireworks. He's 6-0 to the over while he's been the coach in Kansas City as a dog. So we could get some serious fireworks going on. Can the Bills generate pressure versus Kansas City? What defenses are going to get the crucial stops late in the game? This Allen versus Mahomes, man. Romo is going to be going crazy in this game.
Yeah, dude, they better make sure they get Romo like a new pair of pants for the second half, probably. Like, that thing is just going to be absolutely crazy. But there's one other big-time game in NFL Week 6, and we have a fan of one of the teams involved in that game on this very podcast, and he has a hot take dialed up that Jim Rome himself would be absolutely proud of. Chris, we're going to hold that for just a second, but tell me where you were at on your Cowboys v. Eagles being an absolutely huge game for the top of the NFC East, excuse me.
I tell you what, after Dak went down, I didn't necessarily expect us to be in this position. But our defense has stepped up. Our offense is playing solid. Cooper Rush isn't turning the ball over. It's been a very, very nice surprise. And if I was an Eagles fan, I'd be nervous. I mean,
all right, hold on. We'll let you get to your take. I love it. I can't wait. Chris is chomping at the bit for this. It's going to be so good. Mr. Williams, let's get your thoughts on this game real quick, and then we're going to go to Chris with the red meat just right there in front of him.
Yeah, we're going to go back and forth on here because I think Philadelphia wins this game. And I think Dallas has done a great job with their defense, with their defensive line. But if you take a look at the teams that they've beaten this year, Washington, the Giants, Cincinnati, and the Rams, what do all those teams have in common? They all have offensive line problems. They are all ranked. They're all ranked 26th or worse in adjusted sack rate. They are all bottom 10 in line yards. And the Dallas D is basically winning all these games. Philly has the number 1 pass protecting O-line in the league. I think they can neutralize that Dallas defensive line to some degree. And they have the second and third best overall offensive lineman based on least amount of pressures given up. So, yeah, we can go back and forth on this game.
All right, Chris, now okay, here we go, Chris. The floor is yours. Why should Eagles fans be worried?
Okay, for one thing, I got to rebut Williams real quick first. The one thing the Eagles have done most of this season already is play some weak-ass defenses. So maybe that offensive line only looks good against the defenses of the Lions, worst in the league. The Vikings, who you already said are suspect. The Washington football team, which we know are not very good. The Cardinals, which are not very good. The only decent defense they've played against this year is the Jags, and the Jags put up a fight. So
you're damn right the Jags put up a fight. I'm sorry, I interjected the Jags stuff.
And they're going up against a defense that's going to want to put pressures and hit the quarterback. I think Jalen Hurts is overrated. I know Jalen Hurts is overrated, especially the type of publicity and fawning over his play that has happened this year. And his play has improved, I will not doubt that, and maybe it even gets better. But right now, he is way overrated for the accolades that people are trying to throw at him. Just to give you a quick rundown, he's only completing 67% of his passes.
Only 67.
Listen, if you're wanting to be put in the same conversations of guys like Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, for that matter, you need to be completing a bit more. Josh Allen's over 70% completion percentage. He's been sacked 11 times. But
Josh
the biggest
Allen's
thing,
a superhero. I mean, like, what are we comparing
This-
Jalen Hurts to the Avengers? What are we doing here?
this is that's what people are talking about him. They're 5-0, and they think Jalen Hurts is the next big thing. And I'm getting tired of it because, like, his touchdown percentage is only 2.5%. He's only thrown for 4 touchdowns this entire season. Anytime that he gets in a little bit of trouble, he will run it in or call his own number at the goal line, and that's fine. He's got 6 rushing touchdowns. Still,
Jalen Hurts is bad because he's athletic. I mean, that's a rough thing for me to try to agree
I'm
to.
just saying the Eagles are looking in at what they think may be their next savior, and I'm saying it's way too early. I know he's overrated right now.
That's some Jim Rome shit right there. That's absolutely fabulous. Mr. Williams, come on. Jalen Hurts. I mean, I think I know what Chris is trying to say here, but I think he's swinging at ghosts here a little bit. He's creating people who are trying to put Jalen Hurts as one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league, and I don't really hear anybody doing that. I think people are saying he's playing fine, but I don't think people are lofting him as to the high heights as Chris. Or do you agree?
Well, I think he's been like a top 5 fantasy quarterback this year because of his legs, and I mean they just been in positive game script most of the year, and like the biggest question mark was Jalen Hurts this year going into the season. Like Philly put all kinds of weapons around him, not only offensively but defensively. I mean, the defensive line is awesome, the secondary is awesome, the linebackers are awesome. Like this is the deepest team in the NFL. And, I mean, they might not have the ceiling as Buffalo or Kansas City, but I still think that they are the best team in the NFC. And like Chris's points are right on maybe Philly hasn't played, as tough a defense as Dallas. I don't think Philly's I don't think this is a high scoring game at all. I'm more worried about the Dallas offense going up against the Philly defense. I mean, the Cowboys are 25th in EPA per play on offense this year. And Cooper Rush has been good backup, but he's had 3 big-time throws in 4 games. He's had 5 turnover-worthy plays and 3 other turnover-worthy plays that got called back due to a penalty. He's had some interceptions that were just been dropped. So I don't know if he can sustain.
Here's what I know about Cooper Rush. He's got about the same passer rating or the quarterback rating as Jalen Hurts. He's thrown the same amount of touchdowns in less time as Jalen Hurts. He has 2 less interceptions than Jalen Hurts.
Look out, a bonus what I know out of Chris King there. I'll tell you something. Chris, listen, I gave you a tough time a minute ago because I wanted you to make sure to get all of your stances out there. But honestly, you want to know who else thinks maybe Jalen Hurts isn't the long-term answer for the Philadelphia Eagles? The Philadelphia Eagles. Because if you believe some reports out there, they were looking into trying to get a different quarterback to start this year, and it just didn't work out for him. So,
yeah, and Hurts he's been playing awesome this year so far. So, I mean, they're going to roll with him throughout. I mean, the Cowboys, I think 66% of the handle is on Dallas in this game at +6, but Philly is taking 52% of the money. So the public is on Dallas here. This is also a really tough scheduling spot for Dallas, man. 3 straight road games, and you're going across country, all the way from LA back to Philly. Sunday night. This is just a tough spot for the Cowboys here. Right?
We won't put this against your record, Mr. Williams.
Yeah.
But if you had to make a pick in this game, what would you do?
I like Philly. I even laying -6. I like Philly here.
Wow, Chris, even laying the 6, he likes Philly. What do you say to that?
He also just got done saying it's going to be a low-scoring game, so that's going to be hard to get to that -6 in a low-scoring game. And maybe he's right. Maybe it ends up being 16-13 or 19-16.
Yeah.
But that 6 points is a big number, especially for division rivals. You never know what's going to happen. Last time these teams played, which is in 2022, Dallas won 51-26.
All right, I have one question that I'm going to ask both of you guys as we close up shop here, because as I see we're getting close to about 40 minutes, so unfortunately we have no time to talk about the Indianapolis Colts. Oh, man, I'm so bummed out. But unfortunately, I am attending one Lucas Oil Stadium this Sunday for the big Colts-Jaguars tilt. And my question I pose to you two gentlemen, my football confidants, as I am ready to close up shop here, do I take a paper bag with me? And if shit gets ugly in the second quarter, do I bust it out and put it on my head to see if I can get on TV? Mr. Williams, what do you think?
Oh man, they have to beat the Jags, right? They have.
Are you
to.
serious? This Colts team has to do what? You don't want to say anything with certainty around this Colts team, Mr. Williams, and you know that.
This is a huge game for the Colts. Have to have this game if they want to win the division. They gotta start blocking better for Ryan. Ryan's been terrible, but my God, they got to start blocking better for him.
He's getting hit like every other play, it seems like. Yeah. But in the Colts' defense, who knows what's up with Jacksonville right now either? They just lost at home.
I'll tell you what's up with Jacksonville.
To the Houston Texans.
The Texans are scrappy, baby, with Lovey. They fight for Lovey. They love that white beard. Listen, here's the thing, all right? You guys are absolutely right that the Jaguars are maybe not the world beaters I tried to paint them out to be at the beginning of this year. And really the only reason I tried to paint them out to be that way was like reverse jinx to try to get the Colts to be better because I just knew that we were looking at this season. But here's the deal. The Jaguars, in my opinion, have an actual real NFL head coach, and they have an actual real NFL quarterback. So ultimately, I think that that's going to be enough in the end for the Jags to win this game. Chris, you didn't answer my question. Do I take a paper bag, and if the Colts start getting beat by 14 in the second quarter, do I put it on my head?
I think you almost have to wait till the second half to put the paper bag over your head. But then, yes, paper bag over the head.
That's what I mean, right? Because, listen, things are just crazy these days, right? People want to get in fights for everything. There can be a whole lot of true blue Colts fans around, so I don't want to just be yelling stuff. Fire Reich is just so uninspired. Everybody at this point knows Frank Reich should be fired. I have no idea what Irsay is doing by allowing him to continue to coach this football team. So I just think the move, a bit understated, but old school and classic, just the paper bag on the head. I am ashamed that I am in the stadium watching this terrible football team. Mr. Williams, you don't think that that's the move?
No. They get JT back this week. The Jags have played the third easiest schedule of opposing rush offenses. This is the week the Colts get back on track. They got Tennessee and Washington after this. Come on, Colts, 3 in a row. Let's go.
I can't believe you're doing this to yourself.
Colts.
You were just walking yourself out to the edge of a pier, and you are not looking down at how many boards are left, and you just keep walking out there to the edge of that pier with this Colts team, Mr. Williams. You just keep coming on this podcast, even though I, the true blue Colts fan who has an 18 Hall of Fame jersey up in my closet, tell you that this team stinks, and you continue to try to come on here and perpetrate this fraud, to borrow your term, to the people, our listeners, that the Colts are going to turn it around. Why are you doing this to them, Mr. Williams?
Listen, Lawrence, 28th against cover 2. He's been real bad. Maybe the Colts can just play cover 2 against them all game. Who knows?
Chris, is this some sort of heel turn by Williams where he's just like turning the knife on me even deeper by continuing to try to talk this Colts team up? What's going on here?
Listen, he gets me pumped for it too. He gets me to be on his side when he talks like this about the Colts.
I don't see it, man. I absolutely don't see it. I've been saying that from day one, but Mr. Williams, go ahead.
They do stink right now, but I can't believe that they're this bad. They have to turn it around is what I'm saying.
But do they have to, really? I mean, is there some law somewhere that says the Colts have to turn it around, or can't they just be a bad football team with a bad head coach and a quarterback who's washed up?
They got to turn it around. They're going to get the W this weekend for you, Rod.
See, listen,
you're going to be pumped.
Here's how great Peyton Manning is, okay? Here's how great Peyton Manning is. He was so good for so long in Indy that he completely changed the complexion of that franchise. Because if you look back on the history of the Indianapolis Colts as the Indianapolis Colts, there are way more years with them having a crappy head coach and a crappy quarterback than there ever were of them being a model franchise. But Peyton was so good, exactly, but Peyton was so good that he got it turned around and people were like, oh, we're the 49ers, we're the Ravens, we're the Packers, we're consistently good franchise. Absolutely not, man. The Colts have many more years of being a bumbling, also nothing ran than they do of being anything good. People need to kiss the feet of Peyton Manning so often, and Bill Polian as well, and Tony Dungy a little bit too, in realizing how much those three raised the profile of the Indianapolis Colts, because otherwise their track record under the Irsay speaks to stinking just like they do now.
There's been a lot of teams that have been worse than the Colts, though. The Colts win some big games, man, that you don't think they're going to win. I'm not saying you. I'm saying
You
like
just
the
keep
public.
twisting the knife. You're such a heel with this, man.
Let's go Colts. Let's
Oh
go.
my goodness! All right, and now I'm all red in the face here after that last rant. We got to go. We've been going at people for almost 45 minutes here, Mr. Williams. Thank you so much. We'll keep up with your bets this week. See how you are.
Let's go.
Coming into Week 7 next week, Mr. King. Thank you so much for joining us from down there in North Carolina. Jimmy Jam, get back with us soon, man. We miss your energy on the pod. Thanks for producing. And we will be back next week, NFL week number 7. Don't forget to check out our other offerings here on the Morgan Podcasting Network. Plenty of stuff about wrestling. Special episode about Survivor with one mystery guest joining Matt Wu-Tang Kazursky. Not really mystery. It's in the stage notes. It's his wife, Mrs. Wu-Tang. But that's an interesting listen. If Wu-Tang has always been an alluring mystery presence to you, listen to him and his wife together on the podcast before this very one. And until next time, Mr. King has the final word.
Goodbye, Internet.